How to grow when you feel stuck, lost, or behind. Introduction. Welcome to the static. It's that low hum in the back of your mind. The feeling that something is off, that you're not quite where you're supposed to be. It's the noise that plays when you lie awake at night, wondering if you took a wrong turn somewhere. It's the silent sound of your own life, stuck on pause. This book is for anyone who has ever felt that static. For anyone who feels stuck in the mud, lost in the fog, or left behind in a race they never remember starting. You might be looking at your friends, your colleagues, or strangers on the internet and seeing a life in full motion. You see promotions, weddings, new homes, and exciting adventures. And when you look at your own life, you just hear that hum, that static. I want you to know something right now before we even begin. That feeling is not a life sentence. It is a signal. It's a signal that something inside of you is ready for a change. It's a sign that you are ready to grow. This book isn't about magic fixes or pretending that life isn't hard. It's not about toxic positivity or ignoring the very real feelings you're experiencing. This is a practical guide, a toolkit, a friendly voice to help you turn that static into a clear signal. We are going to explore why you feel this way, and then we are going to find simple, powerful ways to move forward. Not in a huge, terrifying leap, but one small, manageable step at a time. This is not a race. There is no finish line we are sprinting towards. This is about learning to tune your own frequency, to find your own rhythm, and to start broadcasting your own unique signal to the world. We will do this together. It's time to turn down the noise and listen to the music of your own potential. Let's begin. Chapter 1. You are here, and it's okay. Let's start with a simple exercise. I want you to imagine a giant map spread out on a table. It's a map of a life with winding roads, dense forests, sparkling cities, and vast, empty deserts. This is the map of your life. And right now, all I want you to do is find the small red pin, the one that says you are here. That's it. You don't have to like where the pin is. You don't have to pretend it's the most exciting spot on the map. You just have to acknowledge it. You are here. In our world, we are taught to always be moving, always be achieving, always be rushing to the next destination. The idea of simply standing still and admitting where we are feels like a failure. But it is the most powerful first step you can possibly take. You cannot get to where you want to go if you refuse to accept where you are starting from. So let's give these feelings a name. Let's look at that pin on the map and understand the terrain around it. Most likely you're in one of three places, or maybe a mix of all three. The first place is called stuck. This is the feeling of spinning your wheels in the mud. You're putting in a ton of effort. You're pushing the gas pedal, your engine is roaring, and mud is flying everywhere. But you're not moving an inch. Being stuck is frustrating because it feels like your effort is being wasted. You might be in a job you're good at, but there's no room to grow. You might be in a relationship that isn't bad, but it isn't going anywhere. You are busy, but you are not productive. You end each day exhausted with nothing to show for it but a deeper rut in the mud. This is the land of stagnation. The second place is called lost. This is different from being stuck. When you're lost, you are moving. The problem is you have no idea where you're going. Imagine you are walking through a thick fog or a dense forest without a compass. Every direction looks the same. You take a step and then another, hoping you'll stumble upon a familiar path. But you are just guessing. You might be walking in circles. You might be walking deeper into the woods. Being lost is defined by uncertainty. You might have just finished school and have no idea what career to pursue. You might have just ended a long-term relationship and have no idea who you are without that other person. You are free, but the freedom is terrifying. There are too many choices and not enough information. This is the land of confusion. The third place is called behind. This feeling is a special kind of trap. It's the feeling that everyone else is moving faster than you and you can't possibly catch up. This isn't about being stuck or lost. You might know exactly where you want to go and you might even be moving towards it, but you feel like you're running a race in slow motion. You look to your left and see someone your age buying a house. You look to your right and see someone younger than you getting that promotion you wanted. You scroll through your phone and see an endless parade of success stories. Feeling behind is fueled by comparison. It's a game you can never win because you are always comparing your real, messy life with someone else's carefully curated highlight reel. It's the feeling that you started too late, that you're not talented enough, or that you missed your chance. This is the land of comparison. So take a moment. Where is your pin on the map? Are you stuck, lost, or behind? Or maybe you feel a little of all three. Maybe you feel stuck in your job, lost in your personal life, and behind everyone you went to school with. Whatever your answer is, I want you to take a deep breath, and I mean a real one. Breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. And breathe out slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Let's do it again. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 6. This is the first actionable step in this entire book. It is the act of pausing. It is the act of giving yourself a moment of grace. You are not a machine. You are a human being, and human beings are allowed to be in one place for a little while. They are allowed to be tired, confused, and overwhelmed. Science tells us that this simple act of deep, controlled breathing does something amazing to our bodies. It activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. That's a fancy way of saying it tells your brain's alarm system that you are safe. It lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. It signals to your body that the tiger is not chasing you. The tiger is the pressure, the anxiety, the feeling that you have to solve everything right this second. So for the rest of this chapter, your only job is to let that pin stay on the map. Don't try to rip it out and move it somewhere else. Don't judge yourself for being there. Just accept it. Say it out loud if you need to. I feel stuck right now, and that's okay. I feel lost, and for this moment I am letting that be. I feel behind, and I'm giving myself permission to stop running. This is not surrender. This is not giving up. This is a strategic pause. It's like a general on a battlefield, stopping to look at the map before ordering the next charge. It's like a musician pausing to retune their instrument before playing the next song. Without this pause, any action you take will be panicked and reactive. We live in a culture that celebrates hustle and grinding. We are told that if you're not moving forward, you're falling backward. But that's a lie. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is absolutely nothing. To just be, to just breathe. Think of it this way. When a computer gets overwhelmed with too many open programs, it freezes. It becomes slow and unresponsive. What do? You don't just keep clicking the mouse harder and harder. That only makes it worse. You reboot it. You give it a moment to shut down, clear its memory, and start fresh. This is your reboot. This moment of acceptance is you giving your mind and your spirit the space to reset. You are not broken. You are not a failure. You are a person at a certain point on a map. And that point is not a judgment on your character or your potential. It is simply a coordinate, a piece of data. Feeling stuck means you have a desire for momentum. Feeling lost means you have a desire for direction. Feeling behind means you have a desire to live up to your own potential. These feelings are not your enemies. They are messengers. They are telling you what you want. They are the first clues to figuring out your next move. So welcome. Welcome to this place on the map. It might not be scenic, but it is real. And it is the perfect place to start. For now, just be here. Breathe. You have arrived. And from here, we can go anywhere. Chapter 2. The 3 Great Illusions. Now that you've put a pin on your map, let's talk about the landscape. Why does it feel so real? Why does being stuck, lost, or behind feel like an undeniable truth about your life? It's because these feelings are propped up by powerful illusions. They are like mirages in the desert. They look completely real. They feel real, but they are tricks of the mind. And once you understand how the trick works, you take away its power. We are going to dismantle the 3 great illusions. The illusion that keeps you stuck, the illusion that keeps you lost, and the illusion that keeps you feeling behind. Let's start with the first one, the stuck illusion. This is the belief that progress must always be visible and external. We live in a world that measures success by things it can see. A new job title on LinkedIn, a diploma on the wall, a new car in the driveway, a number on a scale. We are trained to look for outward signs of movement. If we can't see the progress, we assume it's not happening. This is why you can feel so stuck. You might be working hard on yourself. You might be learning to manage your anxiety, reading books to expand your mind, or working on being a more patient person. But nobody gives you a promotion for that. Nobody hands you a trophy for finally understanding a part of yourself that has confused you for years. The truth is that the most important growth is often invisible. Think of a massive bamboo tree. For the first 4 or 5 years of its life, it barely grows above the ground. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. It looks stuck. But underground, it is building a vast and incredibly strong root system. It is preparing. And then, when the roots are ready, the bamboo tree can shoot up as much as 90 feet in just 6 weeks. You are not stuck. You are building your root system. The time you spend learning, reflecting, healing, and resting is not wasted time. It is the most crucial work you can do. It is the foundation for all the visible growth that is to come. When you feel stuck, you are not stagnating. You are consolidating. So how do we fight this illusion? You have to start tracking your invisible wins. This is your first real mission. At the end of each day, I want you to find a notebook or a file on your computer. I want you to write down one piece of internal growth. Just one. Maybe it's this. Today I felt angry, but I didn't send the angry text. That was a win. Or maybe, I felt overwhelmed, but I remembered to do my breathing exercise. That was a win. Or, I learned something new from a podcast today. That was a win. You are creating a new set of data. You are training your brain to see that progress isn't just about what you achieve. It's about who you are becoming. The world may not see your root system, but you can, and you need to honor it. Now for the second great illusion, the lost illusion. This is the belief that everyone else has a perfect map of their life and they are following it. When we feel lost, we tend to look at other people and assume they have it all figured out. We see the doctor, the lawyer, the artist, and we think they must have known from day one what they wanted to be. We believe they had a step-by-step plan that they executed perfectly. This is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. The reality is, most people are just like you. They are wandering through the forest, following a faint trail of curiosity and hoping it leads somewhere good. The path only looks like a straight line when you look at it in reverse. Think about Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. His story is legendary. After he dropped out of college, he was completely lost. He didn't have a grand plan to build a computer empire. He just decided to stick around campus and take classes that seemed interesting to him. One of those classes was calligraphy. At the time, it was a useless skill. It had no practical application in his life. He just did it because he found it beautiful and fascinating. Years later, when he was designing the first Macintosh computer, he remembered the lessons from that calligraphy class. He used that knowledge to create the beautiful fonts and proportional spacing that made the Mac so revolutionary. The Mac was the first computer with beautiful typography. He couldn't connect the dots looking forward. He could only connect them looking backward. His journey wasn't a straight line. It was a series of curious, seemingly random steps that only made sense in hindsight. Most successful people have a story like this. They followed a hunch. They tried something and failed. They took a side job that ended up becoming their main career. They did not have a map. They had a compass. And that compass was their curiosity. So how do we break this illusion? You must stop searching for a perfect map for your life. It doesn't exist. Instead, you must start to trust your compass. We will talk more about this later, but for now, just accept this truth. Nobody has it all figured out. Everyone is improvising. You are not lost, you are exploring. Finally, let's talk about the third and perhaps most dangerous illusion, the behind illusion. This is the belief that life is a race and you are losing. This illusion is powered by one of the most toxic forces in modern life, social comparison. Every time you open your phone, you are bombarded with images of other people's victories, their filtered vacations, their perfect families, their career milestones. Your brain, without even thinking, starts to compare. She's my age, and she has a family. He's younger than me, and he's more successful. Here's a hard fact for you. Numerous studies, including a prominent one published in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology, have shown a direct causal link between time spent on social media and negative feelings like depression and low self-esteem. The more you scroll, the more you compare. The more you compare, the worse you feel. Your brain is not designed for this. For thousands of years, humans lived in small tribes of about 150 people. You compared yourself to the people in your village. Maybe one guy was a slightly better hunter. Maybe one woman was a slightly better storyteller. But the pool of comparison was small. Now you are comparing yourself to 8 billion people. You are comparing your worst day, your most insecure moment, with the carefully crafted, photoshopped best moment of a complete stranger. It is a rigged game. It is a race you are guaranteed to lose, because it is not a real race. You are not behind, you are simply on a different timeline. Think about it. Some flowers bloom in the spring, some in the summer, and some in the fall. We don't look at an oak tree and call it a failure because it doesn't produce apples. We don't look at the moon and criticize it for not being as bright as the sun. They are different. They have different purposes and different cycles. So how do we dismantle this illusion? You must consciously opt out of the fake race. This means curating your social media feeds. Unfollow any account that consistently makes you feel bad about yourself. It doesn't matter if it's a celebrity, an influencer, or even a friend from high school. If their posts trigger your behind feeling, you have permission to mute or unfollow them. Protect your peace. Your life is not a race against anyone else. The only person you were yesterday is the only person you should compare yourself to today. So let's review. These 3 feelings are not facts. They are illusions. You are not stuck. You are building your invisible root system. You are not lost. You are an explorer following your curiosity. You are not behind. You have opted out of a fake race to run on your own track, at your own pace. When you can see these illusions for what they are, they begin to dissolve. The static starts to fade and you can begin to hear a clearer signal, the signal of your own truth. Chapter 3. The Myth of the Straight Line. From the moment we are old enough to understand stories, we are sold a single version of success. It is a straight line. It is a ladder. You start at the bottom. You go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, you get a good job. Then you climb the rungs of that job one by one. Junior associate, associate, senior associate, manager, director, vice president. The line goes up and to the right. Your salary goes up. The size of your house goes up. Everything moves in one, clean, predictable direction. This is the myth of the straight line. And it is the single most damaging story we tell ourselves. It is the reason we feel like failures when our own lives don't match this perfect imaginary trajectory. I want you to burn that image of the ladder. I want you to erase the picture of the straight line from your mind. Because a real life, a human life, a life of growth and meaning does not look like a line at all. It looks like a scribble. It looks like a jungle gym. It looks like an audio waveform. An audio waveform, the very essence of sound, is never a flat line. It is a dynamic series of peaks and valleys. The peaks are the loud moments of triumph. The valleys are the quiet moments of struggle or rest. You cannot have the sound without both. A flat line is silence. Your life is not silent. It is a symphony of high notes and low notes. The mistake we make is thinking that we are only supposed to live in the peaks. We believe the valleys are mistakes, that they are proof we are doing something wrong. We fight them, we resist them, we hate them. But the valley is where the seeds for the next peak are sown. Let's talk about people whose lives looked nothing like a straight line. Let's talk about their scribbles. Consider the story of J.K. Rowling. When you look at her life now, you see the ultimate peak. She is one of the most successful authors in human history. Her path looks like a rocket ship. But if you zoom in on the years before Harry Potter was published, you don't see a straight line. You see a valley so deep, it would feel impossible to escape. In her late 20s, she was, in her own words, the biggest failure I knew. Her marriage had imploded. She was jobless, a single parent, and living on government benefits. She was so poor she could barely afford to feed herself and her daughter. She was diagnosed with clinical depression and contemplated suicide. By every single metric of the straight line myth, she was not just at the bottom of the ladder. She had fallen off of it completely. She had a story about a boy wizard. She wrote it in cafes, trying to make a single cup of coffee last for hours so she could stay in the warmth. When she finally finished the manuscript, she sent it to 12 different publishers. They all rejected it, all of them. The straight line would tell you to give up. The feedback is clear. You are a failure. But she was in a valley. And in that valley, she was doing the work. She was writing, she was creating. She was building her root system, just like the bamboo tree. That valley was not a detour from her success. It was the birthplace of her success. The pain, the struggle, the resilience she learned there are all woven into the fabric of her stories. It took a 13th publisher, a small one, to finally say yes. The rest is history. Her life is not a straight line. It's a testament to the power of the valley. Or think about Harrison Ford. Before he was Han Solo or Indiana Jones, he was a struggling actor in Hollywood. He was getting small parts, but he couldn't make a living. He had a wife and 2 young sons to support. The straight line of an actor's career was not working for him. So what did he do? He didn't just try harder at acting. He made a massive sideways move. He quit acting and became a professional carpenter. He taught himself the trade from books he got at the library. He needed to feed his family. He was building cabinets for people like director George Lucas. Imagine that. You feel like you're failing at your dream, so you put it on hold to work with your hands to build things out of wood. According to the myth, this is a huge step backward. He wasn't climbing the acting ladder. He was on a completely different construction site. But that detour is what saved him. It gave him financial stability. It gave him a sense of confidence and competence that he wasn't getting from acting. And one day, while he was installing a door at a studio, he was asked to help read lines with actors auditioning for a new space movie. That movie was Star Wars. Because he was there not as a desperate actor, but as a confident carpenter, he caught the director's eye. The rest is history. His path was not a straight line. It was a zigzag. A move that looked like giving up was actually the move that created his biggest opportunity. This pattern is everywhere. Colonel Sanders was in his 60s when he started Kentucky Fried Chicken. He had failed at dozens of other jobs. His life was a series of valleys and false starts. Vera Wang was a figure skater and a journalist before she designed her first dress at age 40. Her life was a jungle gym, not a ladder. She swung from one bar to another, learning different skills until she found the one that fit her perfectly. So what does this mean for you right now, with your pin on the map? It means you have to give yourself permission to have a messy path. Your detours are not mistakes. They are data collection. They are skill acquisition. That job you took that you hated, you learned what you don't want. That's valuable data. That relationship that ended. You learned about your own needs and boundaries. That's a powerful skill. I want you to do an exercise. Take out a piece of paper. I want you to draw your life path, but don't draw a straight line. I want you to draw the scribble. Start from when you left high school or college. Draw a line for that first job. Did you get laid off? Draw the line going down. Did you take a year off to travel? Draw a loop. Did you move to a new city for a relationship? Draw a line veering off to the side. Did that relationship end and you had to start over? Draw a sharp, jagged turn. Map out the part-time jobs, the hobbies you were obsessed with for 6 months and then dropped, the moments of confusion, the moments of unexpected joy. Be honest. Make it as messy and as complicated as it actually was. Now look at that drawing. The myth of the straight line would call this a picture of failure, but I want you to see it for what it is. It's a rich, complex, and unique tapestry. It is a record of your resilience. Look at all those turns. You survived every single one of them. You learned something from every dip and every zigzag. This is your unique path. It is not supposed to look like anyone else's. When you feel lost, it's often because you're trying to force your scribble to look like a straight line. You're trying to follow a map that was never meant for you. Embrace your scribble. Honor your jungle gym. When you find yourself in a valley, do not despair. You are not stuck. You are not failing. You are in the quiet, fertile ground where the work gets done. You are gathering strength. You are building your roots. You are preparing for the next inevitable climb. The goal is not to have a perfect straight-line life. The goal is to have your life, the one you actually live. And that life is beautiful, not in spite of its messiness, but because of it. Chapter 4. Your brain's old software. Imagine you buy a brand new high-powered computer. It has the fastest processor, a stunning display, and more memory than you could ever need. But for some reason, it's running software from 30 years ago. It can't connect to the modern internet properly. It crashes when you try to open new programs. It's slow and clunky. The hardware is a masterpiece, but the software is ancient. This is a perfect metaphor for your brain. You have a miraculous piece of hardware between your ears. The human brain is the most complex object in the known universe. But it is running some very, very old software. Software that was designed for a world that no longer exists. Understanding this is the key to understanding your fear, your resistance, and your feeling of being stuck. Let's talk about your brain's primary job. You might think its job is to make you happy, to help you achieve your dreams, or to make you successful. That is incorrect. Your brain's number one job, its core directive from millions of years of evolution, is to keep you alive. Its job is survival. Happiness is a luxury. Survival is a necessity. The oldest part of your brain, the part that runs this survival software, is sometimes called the lizard brain. A more scientific name for its central hub is the amygdala. This is your brain's smoke detector. It is constantly scanning your environment for threats. Its motto is better safe than sorry. This software was programmed in the wild, on the savannas of Africa. The world back then was full of very real, very physical threats. There were tigers in the bushes, rival tribes over the hill, and a constant risk of starvation. In that world, the lizard brain was your best friend. When it detected a potential threat, a rustle in the grass, it did something brilliant. It triggered the fight, flight, or freeze response. It flooded your body with chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart would start pounding to pump blood to your muscles. Your breathing would get fast and shallow to take in more oxygen. Your pupils would dilate to see more clearly. All non-essential systems like digestion and rational thought would shut down. All of this was to prepare you for one of three actions: to fight the tiger, to run away from the tiger, or to freeze and hope the tiger doesn't see you. This system worked beautifully. It's the reason our ancestors survived and the reason you are here today. But here is the problem. Your brain's hardware has evolved, but that core survival software has not had a major update in thousands of years. You are now living in a modern world, but you are still running the tiger detection program. So what does your lizard brain identify as a tiger today? Asking for a raise, that's a tiger. It involves the risk of rejection, a form of social death, so your heart pounds, your palms get sweaty, and you can't think straight. Your brain is telling you to run away. Speaking in front of a group of people, that's a huge tiger. It involves the risk of being judged and ostracized by the tribe. So your throat gets tight and your mind goes blank. Your brain is telling you to freeze. Starting a new creative project, publishing a blog post, or starting your own business, that's a tiger. It involves the risk of failure, of being laughed at. So you procrastinate. You find a million other important things to do. Your brain is telling you to avoid the threat altogether. The feeling you call fear, anxiety, or resistance is simply your old software running its program. It cannot tell the difference between a real tiger and the threat of embarrassment. To your lizard brain, social rejection feels like a life or death situation. Being stuck is comfortable. It's predictable. Your brain knows you will survive today if you do the exact same thing you did yesterday. Growth, change, and risk are terrifying because they are unknown, and the unknown might contain a tiger. This old software also has another feature. It's called the negativity bias. Your brain is like Velcro for bad experiences and Teflon for good ones. Think about it. If you get 10 compliments and 1 criticism in a day, which one do you think about as you're trying to fall asleep? The criticism. Every time. This makes perfect evolutionary sense. Our ancestors didn't need to remember the 1,000 beautiful sunsets they saw. They needed to remember the one time they saw a tiger near the riverbank. Remembering the negative, the threat, is what kept them alive. So your brain is programmed to focus on what's wrong. It highlights your flaws, your mistakes, and your potential failures. It's not trying to be mean, it's trying to protect you. It's saying, hey, watch out for this. This could be a problem. Let's obsess about it so we don't get hurt. When you understand this, everything changes. You can stop blaming yourself for feeling scared. You can stop thinking you are weak or lazy because you procrastinate. You are not weak. You are a human being with a perfectly functioning, ancient survival mechanism. You are not broken. Your software is just outdated. So what do? You can't just delete the software, it's hardwired into you. But you can become a conscious user. You can learn to recognize when the old program is running and choose not to let it drive your decisions. Here is your first tool for managing this system. You need to give your lizard brain a name, that's right. Give it a slightly silly, non-threatening name, like Frank, or Susan the safety officer, or Bartholomew. This sounds strange, but it is an incredibly powerful psychological trick called externalization. When you give it a name, you separate it from yourself. It is no longer me feeling scared. It is Frank who is scared. It's a part of you, but it is not the entirety of you. You are the one who can observe Frank. This puts you back in the driver's seat. The next time you feel that wave of fear or resistance, when you feel the urge to procrastinate on something important, I want you to pause, and I want you to talk to it, silently or out loud. Say something like this: "Okay, Frank, I hear you. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I know you think this job interview is a tiger, and I appreciate you looking out for me, but it's just a conversation. I'm in charge here. You can stand down." You are not fighting it. You are not ignoring it. You are acknowledging it, thanking it for its service, and then gently telling it that its services are not required right now. You are soothing the alarm system. You are telling your own brain, there is no tiger. This practice, done consistently, begins to rewire your brain. You are creating a new neural pathway, a pathway that says, this situation feels scary, but it is actually safe. You are consciously upgrading your own software, one conversation with Frank at a time. You have a magnificent brain. It is capable of learning, creating, and growing in ways that are truly astounding. But to unlock that potential, you first have to make peace with its oldest, most primitive function. So meet your lizard brain. Name it. Understand that its intentions are good even if its methods are outdated. And the next time it screams tiger, you can smile, pat it on the head, and calmly walk into the arena anyway. You are the programmer now. Chapter 5. The Power of the Tiny Shift, the 1% Rule. You now understand that your brain is programmed to resist change. Your inner bodyguard, Frank, sees any big new goal as a giant, terrifying tiger. So when you decide, that's it, starting tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, write 1,000 words, and eat only healthy food. Frank pulls the emergency brake. He floods your system with resistance. The next morning, the alarm goes off and every cell in your body screams, no. The thought of all that effort is overwhelming. It feels impossible. So you hit the snooze button. You tell yourself you'll start next week. Frank has won. The tiger has been avoided. You are safe in your old routine. So how do we get past this hyper-vigilant bodyguard? We don't fight it. We sneak past it. We make our moves so small, so non-threatening, that the alarm system doesn't even notice. This is the power of the tiny shift. I call it the 1% rule. The goal is not to revolutionize your life overnight. The goal is to get just 1% better in one small area each day. This sounds insignificant. It sounds like it won't make a difference. But you are underestimating the most powerful force in the universe, the power of compounding. Let me show you some simple math. If you get 1% better at something every day for a year, where do you end up? The math is 1.01 to the power of 365. The answer is not that you are 365% better. The answer is that you are nearly 38 times better. Your skills have grown exponentially. Now let's look at the opposite. What if you get 1% worse each day? What if you choose the easy option, skip the small positive habit, and slide just a tiny bit? The math is 0.99 to the power of 365. The answer is you end up at 0.03. You have been reduced to almost nothing. The difference between who you become in a year is not based on one giant heroic effort. It is based on the tiny, almost unnoticeable choices you make every single day. It is the decision to read one page of a book or scroll on your phone. It is the decision to do one push-up or to not. These are the choices that define your trajectory. There is a fantastic real-world example of this. In 2010, the British cycling team was mediocre. They had won almost nothing for 100 years. Then they hired a new performance director named Sir Dave Brailsford. He had a philosophy he called the aggregation of marginal gains. His idea was simple. He believed that if you improved every single tiny thing that goes into riding a bike by just 1%, the sum of those improvements would be enormous. They didn't just focus on the big things. They focused on everything. They redesigned the bike seats to be more comfortable. They tested different massage gels to see which one helped the muscles recover faster. They even figured out which pillow and mattress led to the best night's sleep for each rider, and they would bring them to hotels when they traveled. They taught the riders how to wash their hands properly to reduce the chance of getting a cold. Each of these things on its own was a tiny shift, a 1% improvement, but when they added them all up, the result was stunning. The British cycling team went on to dominate the 2012 and 2016 Olympics. They won the Tour de France multiple times. They became one of the most successful teams in the history of the sport. They didn't do it with one magic solution. They did it by making hundreds of tiny shifts. This is the exact same strategy you are going to use to get unstuck. You're going to stop trying to fight the tiger, and instead, you're going to focus on making 1% improvements that fly under your brain's radar. The best way to do this is with what we'll call the 2-minute rule. Whatever your goal is, scale it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to complete. The point is not to get a result. The point is to become the type of person who starts. Let's run a workshop right now. Pick one area of your life where you feel completely stuck. Is it your health, your career, your creativity, your relationships? Just pick one. Okay, you have it. Now what is the big goal that feels so impossible? Let's say it's I want to write a book. This is a huge, terrifying tiger. Frank is already sweating. So let's apply the 2-minute rule. Write a book becomes write for 1 hour a day. Still too big. Write for 1 hour a day becomes write 1 page a day. Still a bit intimidating. Write 1 page a day becomes write 1 paragraph. Getting warmer. Write 1 paragraph becomes write 1 sentence. Now we're talking. Let's go even smaller. Write 1 sentence becomes open the document. That is your tiny shift. Your only goal for today is to open the document where your book will be. That's it. It takes less than 2 minutes. Can you do that? Of course you can. There is zero resistance to that. Frank doesn't see opening a document as a threat, but something magical happens when you open the document. You might think, well, I'm already here, I might as well write 1 sentence, and that 1 sentence might turn into a paragraph. You have tricked your brain into starting. The hardest part of any task is getting started. The 2-minute rule is a launch pad. Let's try another one. Your goal is, I need to get in shape. This is another huge tiger. Let's scale it down. Get in shape becomes go to the gym for an hour. Too big. Go to the gym becomes do a 30-minute home workout. Still too much friction. Do a home workout becomes do 10 minutes of exercise. Better. Do 10 minutes of exercise becomes do 1 push-up. Let's go smaller. Your tiny shift is put on your workout clothes. That's your only goal. Just put on the clothes. Anyone can do that. But once your workout clothes are on, you feel different. You might think, well, I'm already dressed for it. I might as well do a few squats. You have snuck past the resistance. This works for everything. Clean my messy apartment becomes put 1 thing away. Meditate for 20 minutes becomes sit down and take 1 deep breath. Network to find a new job becomes look up 1 person on LinkedIn. Eat healthy becomes add 1 piece of fruit to my breakfast. The goal of the tiny shift is not the outcome. The goal is to build a vote for your new identity. When you put on your workout clothes, you are casting a vote for I am a person who exercises. When you open the document, you are casting a vote for I am a writer. You are not trying to get a result. You are trying to build a chain of easy wins. Every time you complete a 2-minute task, you are showing your brain, see, that wasn't scary. That was easy. You are slowly and gently retraining your fear response. You are building momentum. 1 small pebble pushed every day will eventually move a mountain. Your homework is simple. Choose 1 and only 1 tiny shift you will make today. Do not try to do 5. That will wake up the tiger. Just 1. Make it so easy that you can't say no. This is not about a lack of ambition. This is a strategic attack on the forces of resistance. It is the smartest way to make progress. Stop trying to make a giant leap that you will never attempt. Start with a step so small it's ridiculous. That is the secret to getting unstuck. That is how you begin. Chapter 6. Energy is your new currency, not time for our entire lives. We have been taught to worship at the altar of time management. We are told that there are 24 hours in a day, and the secret to success is to cram as much productivity as possible into every single minute. We buy planners. We download apps. We use techniques like the Pomodoro method. We try to schedule our days down to the second, believing that if we can just master our schedule, we can master our lives. But I'm here to tell you that this is a trap. Focusing on time is like trying to run a high-performance car by only focusing on how many hours you drive it. You are ignoring the most important element, the fuel in the tank. Your most valuable resource is not your time, it is your energy. You can have a completely free day with 12 hours of unscheduled time, but if you wake up feeling exhausted, anxious, and depleted, that time is useless. You will spend it scrolling on your phone, staring at a blank screen, and feeling guilty about all the things you're not doing. 24 hours of exhausted time is worth less than 1 hour of focused, energized time. You need to stop thinking like a time manager and start thinking like an energy manager. This is a fundamental shift in how you approach your life, and it is the key to sustainable growth. You don't get out of the mud by revving an empty engine. You get out by refueling first. Energy is not just one thing. There are 4 core types of energy you need to manage. Think of them as 4 separate fuel tanks for your body and mind. The first is your physical energy. This is the most obvious one. It comes from the quality of your sleep, the food you eat, and the movement you get. You already know this, but let's be honest. How well are you actually managing it? A study from the University of California, Berkeley, found that even one night of poor sleep can significantly increase your anxiety levels the next day. Another body of research from neuroscience shows that our brains use about 20% of our body's total calories, even though they only make up about 2% of our body weight. Your brain is an energy hog. If you are feeding your body junk, you are feeding your brain junk. You don't need a complicated diet or an extreme exercise plan. Remember the 1% rule. The goal is to make tiny shifts. Can you drink 1 extra glass of water today? Can you go to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight? Can you take a 5-minute walk during your lunch break? You refuel your physical energy with small, consistent acts of self-care, not with grand, unsustainable gestures. The second fuel tank is your mental energy. This is your ability to focus, to concentrate, and to think clearly. This is perhaps the most attacked resource in the modern world. Every notification on your phone, every new email in your inbox, every person who interrupts you while you're trying to work is making a withdrawal from your mental energy account. Multitasking is a myth. What you are actually doing is called task switching, and every time you switch from one task to another, there is a cognitive cost. It takes time and mental energy to disengage from one thing and re-engage with another. A study from the University of California, Irvine, found that it can take over 23 minutes to get back into a state of deep focus after just one interruption. Think about that. If you get interrupted just 3 or 4 times in an hour, you may never reach a state of productive flow at all. To manage your mental energy, you have to be ruthless about protecting your attention. This means turning off notifications on your phone and computer when you are doing important work. It means setting aside specific focus blocks in your day where you are completely unavailable. It means closing all the extra tabs in your web browser. Each one is a tiny leak in your mental fuel tank. The third fuel tank is your emotional energy. This is the quality of your feelings. Positive emotions like joy, gratitude, and contentment are energy boosters. Negative emotions like anger, frustration, and resentment are massive energy drains. Think about the last time you had an argument with someone. How did you feel afterward? Completely drained. It's like the argument sucked all the life out of you. That's because processing and managing intense negative emotions is one of the most energy-intensive things your brain can do. Managing your emotional energy is not about pretending to be happy all the time. That's suppression, and it's also draining. It's about consciously cultivating positive emotional states and minimizing your exposure to unnecessary negativity. Who are the people in your life who always leave you feeling better after you talk to them? They are your energy givers. Who are the people who always leave you feeling drained, anxious, or angry? They are your energy takers. You need to make a conscious choice to spend more time with the givers and less time with the takers. This also applies to the information you consume. Is your news feed a constant stream of outrage and despair? That is an emotional energy drain. You can stay informed without drowning in negativity. Limit your exposure. Follow accounts that post uplifting or beautiful content. Listen to music that makes you feel good. The fourth and final fuel tank is your spiritual energy. This has nothing in particular to do with religion, unless that is your path. Spiritual energy is your sense of purpose, meaning, and connection to something bigger than yourself. It's the feeling that your life matters. This is the energy that gets you through the hard times. It's the why that fuels your what. When you feel lost or that your work is meaningless, Your spiritual energy tank is running on empty. You refuel this tank by connecting with your values. What is truly important to you? Is it creativity? Is it helping others? Is it learning? Is it family? You need to make sure your daily actions are in alignment with these values. If you value creativity but you never make time to create, you will feel a sense of inner conflict that drains your spirit. A powerful way to boost spiritual energy is to do something, no matter how small, for someone else. Altruism is a powerful antidote to feeling stuck in your own head. Another way is to spend time in nature. Research has shown that even just a few minutes of looking at trees or the sky can increase feelings of awe and connection, which are direct inputs to your spiritual fuel tank. So, here is your mission for this chapter. You are going to conduct an energy audit. Take out a piece of paper and draw 4 columns: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. In each column, I want you to list 2 things: your energy givers and your energy takers. For physical, a giver might be a good night's sleep and a taker might be eating sugary snacks. For mental, a giver might be working with no interruptions, and a taker might be checking email every 5 minutes. For emotional, a giver might be talking to my best friend, and a taker might be arguing about politics on social media. For spiritual, a giver might be working on my passion project, and a taker might be doing work I don't believe in. Be brutally honest with yourself. This audit is your new map. It shows you exactly where your energy is coming from and where it is going. The goal is not to eliminate all the takers overnight. That's impossible. Your job is to make one tiny shift. Choose one energy taker from your list and reduce its influence by just a little bit. And choose one energy giver and increase it by just a little bit. Maybe you decide to turn off your phone notifications for 1 hour a day. Maybe you decide to take a 5-minute walk outside. That's it. Your life will transform when you stop trying to manage the clock and start managing your energy. Protect your fuel. Refill your tanks intentionally. Because an energized you, even with only 1 hour of free time, can change the world. A depleted you, with all the time in the world, can't even change the channel. Chapter 7. Your compass is curiosity. When you feel completely lost, your first instinct is to find a map. You want someone to hand you a detailed step-by-step plan that tells you exactly where to go and what to do. You search for your passion or your one true calling, believing that if you can just find that magical destination, all the confusion will disappear. But as we've discussed, this perfect map does not exist. Searching for it is one of the main reasons you feel lost in the first place. It creates a paralyzing pressure to find the one right answer for your entire life. You do not need a map. What you need is a compass. A map shows you a specific predefined path. It is rigid. If a road is closed or a bridge is out, the map becomes useless. It doesn't allow for exploration or deviation. A compass, on the other hand, is completely different. It doesn't tell you where to go. It just tells you which way is north. It gives you a direction. With a compass, you can navigate any terrain. You can find your own way. You can create your own path. For the person who feels lost, your compass is curiosity. Curiosity is one of the most underrated and powerful forces for growth. It is that small, quiet pull towards something. It's that little flicker of interest. It's the question that pops into your head for no reason. It is not a grand, earth-shattering passion. It is a whisper. And your job is to learn how to listen to that whisper. The pressure to find your passion is a trap. It makes you feel like you have to find this one big, magnificent thing that will define your entire existence. Most people don't have one single passion, and for those who do, it often didn't start as a passion. It started as a simple curiosity. Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Eat, Pray, Love, talks about this beautifully. After the massive success of that book, she felt lost. She felt immense pressure to find her next passion, but she couldn't find one. So she decided to give up on passion and simply follow her curiosity. She made a vow to herself that if she felt even the smallest spark of interest in something, she would follow it, without any expectation of where it would lead. She got curious about gardening, so she took a gardening course. She didn't become a world-famous gardener, but she learned something new and it brought her joy. Then she got curious about the history of a particular place, which led her down a research rabbit hole. This gentle, no-pressure process of following her curiosity is what eventually led her to the ideas for her next books. She didn't find her next passion. She let her curiosity lead her to it. This is the model you must adopt. Let go of the need for certainty. Let go of the need to have it all figured out. And instead, start to pay attention to the small sparks of interest in your daily life. Curiosity is your brain's way of telling you, hey, there might be something important over here. Let's go check it out. So how do you do this? How do you practice using your compass? You start by running small experiments. They are low-stakes, low-pressure ways to explore a flicker of interest. Here is your actionable plan. I want you to create a curiosity list. Get a notebook or a document on your computer specifically for this. The only rule for this list is that there are no dumb ideas. You are not allowed to judge anything you write down. For the next week, I want you to be a detective of your own interests. What do you find yourself wondering about? What topics make you want to watch another YouTube video? What kinds of books do you pick up in a bookstore? What kind of conversations do you love having with your friends? Maybe you find yourself watching cooking shows. Put learn to make fresh pasta on the list. Maybe you see someone playing a guitar and think, that looks cool. Put look up beginner guitar lessons on the list. Maybe you hear a word you don't know. Put find out what that word means on the list. The items can be big or small. They can be profound or silly. Learn about black holes. Figure out how to fix the leaky faucet. Understand the history of ancient Rome. Learn how to juggle. It does not matter. You are just gathering data. You are identifying the directions your internal compass is pointing. At the end of the week, you will have a list. This is your menu of potential adventures. Now you are going to pick one, just one, and you are going to run a small, cheap, easy experiment to explore it. Let's say one of the items on your list was learn to code. The old map-based approach would be to sign up for an expensive 6-month coding bootcamp. This is a huge commitment and very high pressure. It's a recipe for paralysis. The new compass-based approach is to run a tiny experiment. Your experiment could be, watch a free 1-hour introduction to Python video on YouTube. That's it. The goal is not to become a programmer. The goal is to gather information. At the end of that hour, you check in with yourself. How did that feel? Was it interesting? Was it frustrating? Was it boring? If it was boring and you hated it, great. You have just gathered incredibly valuable data. You can cross coding off your list for now. You have just saved yourself months of time and thousands of dollars. This is a huge win. If it was interesting, then you can design the next small experiment. Maybe the next step is to complete a free 2-hour introductory course online. You are following the trail of your curiosity, one small step at a time, with no pressure. This process is about replacing the question, what is my life's purpose, with a much better question. What can I get curious about today? This approach does two amazing things. First, it completely bypasses your brain's fear response. There is nothing scary about watching a YouTube video. Frank, your inner bodyguard, stays asleep. You are free to explore without resistance. Second, it generates momentum. Action creates clarity. You will not figure out what you want to do by sitting in a room and thinking about it. You will figure it out by doing things, by trying things, by experimenting and seeing how it feels. Each small experiment gives you more data, which helps you take the next, slightly more informed step. When you feel lost, it's because you are standing still, overwhelmed by the infinite number of possible paths. The cure is to pick one, anyone, that looks even remotely interesting and take a single step. Your life's path is not something you find, it is something you create, one curious step at a time. So what are you curious about right now? Not for the rest of your life, just for the next hour. Start there. That is your true north. Follow it. Chapter 8. The Action Menu. Choose your experiment. Theory is safe. Planning is comfortable. Reading this book is a wonderful first step, but it is not the step that will move you out of the mud. The time has come to bridge the gap between knowing and doing. This is often the scariest part. We've talked about the tiny shifts, we've talked about the compass of curiosity, but now you have to actually take a step. The fear of doing the wrong thing can be so paralyzing that we choose to do nothing at all. So we are going to make this as easy and as pressure-free as possible. Welcome to the Action Menu. Think of this chapter as a restaurant. I'm not going to tell you what to order. I'm simply going to present you with a menu of simple, low-stakes and powerful experiments. Your only job is to pick one that sounds even mildly appealing and to try it just once. There is no pass or fail here. The goal of an experiment is not to get a specific result. The goal is to gather data. The only way to fail at this is to not choose anything. These experiments are designed to do one of three things: reconnect you with your physical body, quiet the noise in your head, or spark a small moment of creativity or connection. They are antidotes to the feelings of being stuck, lost, and disconnected. Read through the menu. See what catches your eye. Remember, you only have to pick one to start. Here is your action menu. First, the 15-minute unplugged walk. This is the simplest and perhaps most powerful experiment on the entire menu. The instructions are simple. You will go for a 15-minute walk. You must do it alone. And you are not allowed to bring your phone, or if you must bring it for safety, it must be on airplane mode in your pocket. No music, no podcasts, no audiobooks. Just you and the world. Your only job on this walk is to notice things. What do you see? Notice the shapes of the clouds. Notice the different shades of green in the leaves of a tree. Notice the cracks in the sidewalk. What do you hear? Listen for the sound of birds, the hum of traffic, the sound of your own footsteps. What do you feel? Feel the air on your skin. Feel the rhythm of your own breathing. This exercise sounds incredibly basic, but it is a radical act in our overstimulated world. It is a forced reset for your nervous system. For 15 minutes, you are not consuming information. You are simply existing. You are getting out of the chaotic narrative in your head and grounding yourself in physical reality. When you get back, ask yourself one question. What did I notice? That's it. You have successfully completed the experiment. Second, the create something bad experiment. This experiment is for anyone who feels creatively blocked or who believes they are not a creative person. The pressure to make something good is what kills creativity before it even starts. So we are going to remove that pressure entirely. Your mission is to intentionally create something bad. Give yourself 10 minutes. You can choose any medium. You can write a terrible poem about your breakfast. You can draw a ridiculously out-of-proportion sketch of your cat. You can use your phone to record yourself singing a song completely off-key. The goal is to be a glorious failure. The goal is to laugh at the result. Why is this so powerful? Because it short-circuits the perfectionist in your brain. That critical voice that tells you, don't even try, you're not good enough, has no power here, because the goal isn't to be good. This experiment reminds you that the act of creation is valuable in itself, separate from the quality of the outcome. It reconnects you with the playful, unjudged creativity you had as a child. It breaks the dam of creative blockage and lets a small trickle of water through. Sometimes that trickle is all you need to get things flowing again. Third, the one conversation experiment. This is designed to combat the feeling of being isolated and disconnected, which is often a huge part of feeling lost or behind. Your experiment is to have one specific kind of conversation. You can do this with a friend, a family member, a barista, or a colleague. Your task is to ask them a question about something they are interested in, and then to simply listen. Don't talk about yourself. Don't try to solve their problems. Your only job is to be curious, ask follow-up questions. What do you like about that? How did you get into that? What's the most interesting part of that for you? This experiment does two things. First, it gets you out of your own head. For a few minutes, you are focused entirely on another person's world, which can be a huge relief from your own anxieties. Second, it builds genuine connection. In a world where everyone is waiting for their turn to talk, the act of pure, curious listening is a rare and beautiful gift. It reminds you that you are part of a larger human web. Fourth, the Tidy One Surface experiment. This is for when you feel completely overwhelmed by your environment and your life. When your outer world is chaotic, it often magnifies the chaos in your inner world. The idea of cleaning your whole apartment is a tiger. It's too big, so you do nothing. Your experiment is to choose one, and only one small surface. It could be your nightstand, it could be the coffee table, it could be one shelf on your bookshelf, it could be the passenger seat of your car. For 5 minutes, you will deal with only that surface. You will throw away the trash. You will put the items that don't belong there back in their proper home. You will wipe the surface clean. When the 5 minutes are up, you stop, even if it's not perfect. This tiny act of bringing order to a small patch of chaos is incredibly satisfying to your brain. It is a visible, tangible win. It sends a powerful message to your subconscious. I am capable of creating order. I can make things better. It proves to you that you can exert positive control over your environment, which in turn makes you feel more in control of your life. So there is your menu. The unplugged walk, creating something bad. The one conversation and tidying one's surface. Which one will you choose? There is no wrong answer. Pick the one that feels the least difficult. Pick the one that sparks the tiniest bit of interest. Your assignment is to conduct your chosen experiment within the next 24 hours. Don't put it off. The longer you wait, the more time you give Frank, your inner bodyguard, to come up with excuses. This is not about changing your life in one afternoon. This is about proving to yourself that you can take action. It's about breaking the spell of inertia. It's about collecting data on what makes you feel even 1% better. Choose your experiment, run it, and see what happens. This is how you begin to move the pin on your map. Not with a giant leap, but with one small, deliberate, experimental step. Chapter 9. Build your proof folder. Your brain, as we've discussed, has a serious design flaw for modern life. It has a negativity bias. It is built to scan for threats, problems, and failures. It remembers the one thing that went wrong with perfect clarity, while letting the 10 things that went right fade into the background. This is why you can have a week full of small successes and still feel like a complete failure. Your inner critic has a megaphone, while your inner cheerleader is whispering. When you feel stuck, lost, or behind, this voice of negativity becomes deafening. It tells you a story that you are not good enough, that you haven't accomplished anything, and that you never will. The problem is, this story feels true. It feels true because your brain is constantly showing you the evidence that supports it. The mistake you made at work, the project you never finished, the opportunity you missed. To fight this, you cannot rely on feelings or wishful thinking. You must fight fire with fire. You must fight a negative story with cold, hard, undeniable evidence. You need to become a lawyer for your own defense. And every good lawyer needs an evidence file. You are going to build a proof folder. I call it a proof folder, but it can be whatever you want. A win file, an evidence locker, a brag sheet. The name doesn't matter. What matters is that you create a dedicated space to collect concrete proof of your own competence, your own goodness, and your own progress. This can be a physical folder, a box, a digital folder on your computer, a note in your phone, or an album in your photo gallery. The format is irrelevant. The practice is everything. So what goes into your proof folder? First, you will collect praise. Anytime someone gives you a genuine compliment, it goes in the folder. Did your boss send you an email saying, "Great job on that report"? Screenshot it, save it, print it out. Did a friend text you, "You're such a good listener, thank you for being there for me"? Screenshot it, put it in the folder. Did a customer leave a positive review for your work? Add it to the file. These are external validations of your worth. We often dismiss these moments. We say, "Oh, they were just being nice." No. Stop invalidating the evidence. Accept it as data. Someone took the time to acknowledge something positive about you. That is a fact. It belongs in your folder. Second, you will collect your own wins. This is even more important than the praise from others because it teaches you to validate yourself. At the end of each day or at the end of each week, you will take 2 minutes to identify one thing you did well, one thing you are proud of. This does not have to be a monumental achievement. Remember the 1% rule. Did you finally make that phone call you've been dreading? Write it down on a piece of paper and put it in the folder. Did you stick to your tiny habit of doing one push-up? Record it. Did you handle a frustrating situation with patience instead of anger? Document it. You are training yourself to notice your own progress. You are actively searching for evidence that contradicts the story of your failure. You are becoming your own cheerleader. Third, you will collect evidence of things you have overcome. Your proof folder is not just for your successes. It is also for your scars. It is a testament to your resilience. Think back on a time in your life when you went through something incredibly difficult. A bad breakup, a job loss, a health scare, a period of deep depression. I want you to write down on one page a simple statement. I survived the difficult event. You don't need to write all the details. just the fact of your survival. You went through the fire and you came out the other side. That is a colossal piece of evidence. It is proof that you are stronger than you think. It proves that you can handle hardship. When you are facing a new challenge that feels overwhelming, you can look at this page and remember that you have faced giants before and won. Fourth, you will collect evidence of learning. Every time you learn a new skill, a new fact, or a new perspective, it goes in the folder. Did you watch a documentary and learn something fascinating about the ocean? Note it down. Did you figure out how to use a new feature in a software program? That's a win. Did you read a book that changed your perspective on something? Write down the key insight. Feeling stuck is often linked to a feeling of stagnation. By documenting your learning, you are proving to yourself that you are not stagnating. You are growing. Your mind is expanding. You are a different, more knowledgeable person today than you were yesterday. This may feel silly or arrogant at first. Our culture often teaches us that it's wrong to celebrate ourselves. We are taught to be humble, to focus on our flaws so we can improve them. But you are not building this folder to show it to anyone else. This is for you. This is your personal weapon against the lies of your own mind. Here is when you will use your proof folder. You will use it on the bad days. You will have days when you feel like a total imposter. You will have days when you are convinced you are falling behind everyone. You will have days when you feel stuck in the deepest mud. On those days, your feelings will be screaming that you are a failure. On those days, you will not argue with your feelings. You will not try to think positive. You will go to your proof folder. You will open it, and you will quietly read the evidence. You will look at the email from your boss. You will look at the text from your friend. You will read the note about the difficult thing you survived. You will see the list of tiny wins you have accumulated. You are not trying to change your feeling. You are introducing a new competing thought, a thought that is backed by indisputable proof. You are saying to your brain, I know I feel like a failure right now, but the evidence suggests that I am also a person who is competent, who is kind, who is resilient, and who is growing. The proof folder is not a magic cure, but it is an anchor. It is a dose of reality. It stops the downward spiral of negative self-talk by confronting it with the truth. The truth is that you are not one thing. You are not a success or a failure. You are complex. You are a person who struggles, and you are also a person who wins. Start your folder today. Find one piece of proof, just one. An old email, a memory of a small win from yesterday. Put it in. Tomorrow, add another. Slowly, consistently, you will build a case for yourself that is so strong, so packed with evidence, that even the most vicious inner critic will be forced to rest its case. Chapter 10. The Art of the Good Enough Decision. One of the deepest ruts of feeling stuck is a place called analysis paralysis. It is the state of being so overwhelmed by options and so terrified of making the wrong choice that you end up making no choice at all. You want to find a new job, so you look at hundreds of job postings. This one looks interesting, but the commute is a bit long. This one has a great salary, but the company culture might not be a good fit. This one seems perfect, but what if a better opportunity comes along next week? Overwhelmed by the variables, you close the laptop and stay in the job you dislike. You have been paralyzed by the analysis. You want to start a creative project. Should you start a podcast, a YouTube channel, or a blog? If it's a podcast, what microphone should you buy? What should your first topic be? What if no one listens? The sheer number of decisions to be made before you even start is so daunting that the project never leaves your imagination. This paralysis comes from a deeply ingrained belief. The belief that for every situation, there is one single, perfect, optimal choice. And the belief that if you fail to make that one perfect choice, you are doomed to a future of regret. We are searching for the flawless decision. But the flawless decision is a myth. It does not exist. To get unstuck, you must abandon the quest for the perfect choice and embrace the power of the good enough decision. You need to become what psychologists call a satisficer, not a maximizer. A maximizer is someone who needs to be sure that every decision they make is the absolute best possible decision. They must examine every single option. They must read every review. They must analyze every piece of data. Research, including studies by psychologist Barry Schwartz, author of The Paradox of Choice, shows that while maximizers may sometimes end up with objectively better outcomes, they are consistently less happy with their decisions. They are more prone to anxiety, stress, and regret. They are always wondering if they could have done better. A satisficer, on the other hand, is different. A satisficer has a set of criteria, a list of what good enough looks like. They explore their options until they find the first one that meets their criteria, and then they make a decision and move on. They are consistently happier, less stressed, and more satisfied with their choices. They don't torture themselves with the what-ifs. Your goal is to become a happy satisficer. And to do that, we need a mental model to help us sort through our choices. The best one I have ever found comes from the world of business, from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He categorizes decisions into two types, Type 1 and Type 2 decisions. A Type 1 decision is a one-way door. Once you go through it, you cannot go back. These are big, momentous, and hard-to-reverse decisions. Decisions like getting married, having a child, or quitting your stable job to move to another country. These decisions are rare and they deserve slow, careful, and thorough analysis. You should act like a maximizer for these. But here is the secret. The vast majority of decisions in our lives, the ones that paralyze us day to day, are not Type 1. They are Type 2. A Type 2 decision is a two-way door. You can walk through it, and if you don't like what you find on the other side, you can simply turn around and walk back out. It is not permanent, it is reversible. Trying a new restaurant for dinner, that is a classic two-way door. If the food is terrible, you don't have to go back there again. The consequence is low. Signing up for an online course, that is a two-way door. If you find it's not for you after 2 weeks, you can stop doing it. You may have lost a small amount of time and money, but you've gained valuable data. Starting a blog on a particular topic, that is a two-way door. If you decide after a month that you're not interested in that topic anymore, you can just stop writing it or start a new blog on a different topic. The door is always open. So here is your new process for making decisions. When you are faced with a choice that is causing you to freeze, the first question you must ask yourself is this a one-way door or a two-way door? Be honest. Is this decision truly permanent and irreversible? 95% of the time, the answer will be no. Once you have identified that you are standing in front of a two-way door, your job is to make a good enough decision as quickly as possible and walk through it. Don't agonize. Don't overanalyze. Just choose and move. How do you do that? You can use a simple technique. Give yourself a strict time limit. For most two-way door decisions, you don't need more than 5 minutes to decide. Set a timer. Do a quick bit of research, look at 2 or 3 options, and when the timer goes off, you must choose one. Which online course should I take? Look at 3 options. Pick the one that seems most interesting. Go. Which book should I read next? Look at your bookshelf for 1 minute. Grab one. Go. Should I go to this social event or stay home? Flip a coin. Seriously. For a low-stakes two-way door decision, a coin flip is a better decision-making tool than 3 hours of agonizing because it produces a decision and frees up your energy. The goal is not to always make the right choice. The goal is to make a choice, take a step, and get feedback from reality. Action creates information. You will learn more by trying something and seeing how it feels than you will from a week of just thinking about it. If you walk through the door and it's not right, you simply turn around. This is not failure, this is learning. You say, okay, interesting. That didn't work as expected. I've learned something. Now I will try a different door. Every time you successfully make a quick, good enough decision, you are building your decision-making muscle. You are building confidence in your ability to navigate uncertainty. You are proving to yourself that you don't need a perfect plan to move forward. Let's practice. What is one decision that is currently making you feel stuck? Is it about a hobby, a small project, a health choice? Now ask the question, is it a one-way or a two-way door? If it's a two-way door, your mission is to make a decision on it in the next 10 minutes. Do not spend longer than that. Pick an option that meets the good enough criteria and take one small step to act on it. Send the email, buy the domain name, sign up for the trial. In our culture, quitting is a dirty word. It is synonymous with failure, weakness, and a lack of character. From a young age, we are bombarded with slogans like, "Winners never quit and quitters never win." We are told to persevere, to grind, to push through no matter what. This advice, while sometimes useful, is also incredibly dangerous. It can trap you in situations, jobs, and mindsets that are actively harming you. It can lead you to pour your precious energy into a project that is going nowhere, simply because you are afraid of being labeled a quitter. We need to reclaim the act of quitting. We need to see it not as an admission of failure, but as a strategic and powerful tool for growth. Sometimes the most courageous and intelligent thing you can do is to quit. Think of your life as a garden. You have a limited amount of water, which is your energy, attention, and time. To have a beautiful, thriving garden, you don't just need to plant new seeds. You also have to pull the weeds. The weeds are the things that are choking the life out of your plants, stealing the water and sunlight. Quitting is the act of pulling weeds. Every time you quit something that is draining you, you are not losing. You are gaining. You are freeing up that precious water to nourish the things that you actually want to grow. There is a huge difference between strategic quitting and simply giving up when things get hard. Giving up is reactive. It happens when you hit an obstacle in something you genuinely care about and you let the frustration win. Strategic quitting is proactive. It is a conscious, deliberate choice to stop investing in something that is no longer serving you, so that you can invest in something that will. So what are the kinds of things we can and should quit? Let's make a list. First, you can quit a project. We all have them. The half-finished novel sitting in a drawer. The business idea that you were excited about for 2 months but now feels like a chore. The instrument you swore you would learn to play that is now gathering dust in a corner. We hold on to these projects out of guilt. We think, I've already invested so much time into this, I can't just quit now. This is a cognitive trap known as the sunk cost fallacy. It's the belief that you should continue to invest in something based on how much you've already invested, rather than on its future prospects. A smart investor doesn't do this. If a stock is performing badly, and all signs point to it continuing to perform badly, they don't say, well, I've already lost so much money, I have to keep holding it. They sell it. They cut their losses and reinvest that capital into something with more potential. You need to be a smart investor with your energy. Look at your unfinished projects. Ask yourself this honest question. If I were starting from scratch today, knowing what I know now, would I choose to begin this project? If the answer is no, then you have permission to quit. Declare it officially dead. You can even have a little ceremony for it. Thank the project for what it taught you. Then, let it go. Feel the immense weight lift from your shoulders. You have just freed up a huge amount of mental and emotional energy. Second, you can quit a goal. This one is even harder. We get attached to our goals, they become part of our identity. But we are allowed to change. The person you were 5 years ago who set that goal is not the same person you are today. Your values might have changed. Your circumstances might have changed. Maybe you always had the goal of becoming a lawyer. You went to law school, but now you're working in the field and you realize you are miserable. The daily reality of the job is nothing like what you imagined. The myth of the straight line tells you that you have to stick with it. You've come so far. But strategic quitting says you have the right to set a new goal. You can quit the goal of being a lawyer and set a new one that is more aligned with who you are now. This is not failure. This is growth. It is a sign of self-awareness and courage. Third, you can and must quit certain habits and mindsets. This is the most profound form of quitting. You can quit the habit of checking your phone first thing in the morning. This small act of quitting can completely change the tone of your day, preserving your mental energy for your own priorities, not someone else's. You can quit the habit of saying yes to every social invitation you receive. You can quit feeling obligated to attend events that you know will drain you. You are quitting the disease to please. You can quit the mindset of negative self-talk. Every time you catch yourself thinking, I'm so stupid, you can quit that thought. You can stop it in its tracks and replace it with something more neutral, like, that was a mistake, I'll learn from it. You can quit the need to be right all the time. In conversations and arguments, especially online, you can choose to quit. You can let the other person have the last word. You are quitting the draining, pointless battle of ego. The great Japanese author Haruki Murakami has a wonderful rule for his work. He says that some things in life you just have to scrape off, like mud on your shoes. You don't analyze the mud. You don't feel guilty about the mud. You just scrape it off and keep walking. This is your new mantra. What in your life needs to be scraped off? Make a quit list. This is the opposite of a to-do list. This is a to-don't list. What are the projects, goals, obligations, and habits that are no longer serving you? What are the weeds in your garden? Write them down. Seeing them on paper gives you power over them. Now, you don't have to quit everything on the list at once. That would be overwhelming. Just like with our tiny shifts, you are going to pick one. What is the one thing you can quit this week that will free up the most energy? Maybe it's that book you're halfway through that you're not enjoying. Quit it. You are not obligated to finish it. There are millions of other books. Maybe it's that weekly committee meeting that is a complete waste of time. Can you find a way to respectfully bow out? Quitting is a skill. And like any skill, it gets easier with practice. Start with something small. Feel the lightness and freedom it creates. Then you can work your way up to the bigger things. Winners quit all the time. They quit the things that don't work. They quit the things that aren't important. They quit the things that are holding them back from their true potential. It is time for you to join them. It is time to experience the profound joy of quitting. Chapter 12. Feedback is fuel, not an attack. As you start to move, as you begin to run your experiments and make your tiny shifts, something new will happen. You will start to get feedback from the world. You are no longer a silent, stationary object. You are a signal being broadcast, and the world will react to that signal. Feedback will come in many forms. It might be a direct comment from a friend or a boss. It might be the result of a project you launch, like the number of people who read your blog post or the sales figures for a product you create. It might be the look on someone's face when you tell them your new idea. For most of us, feedback is terrifying, especially negative feedback or criticism. Our old brain software, the system designed to detect threats, interprets criticism as a social attack. It feels like a judgment on our worth as a person. Our immediate instinct is to become defensive, to make excuses, or to shut down completely. We let the sting of one negative comment erase the progress we've made. If you are going to continue to grow, you must fundamentally change your relationship with feedback. You must stop seeing it as an attack and start seeing it for what it is: fuel. Feedback is not a judgment. It is data. It is information. And information is the most valuable asset you have on your journey. It is the compass needle swinging to give you a new heading. It is the fuel you use to make your next move smarter and more effective. The problem is, not all fuel is clean. Some feedback is high-octane, premium fuel that will propel you forward. Some of it is dirty, contaminated fuel that will clog your engine and make you stall. Your job is to become a skilled mechanic. You must learn how to filter the fuel. So how do you do it? You need a filtering system. When feedback comes your way, whether it's positive or negative, you will run it through 3 simple questions before you let it into your engine. Question number 1. What is the source? This is the most important filter. Who is this feedback coming from? Is this person knowledgeable in the area they are giving feedback on? Do they have your best interests at heart? Do you respect their opinion and their values? Imagine you are trying to become a better painter. If an accomplished professional artist gives you specific advice on your brushwork, that is high-quality fuel. Their opinion is credible. They have the expertise to offer valuable insight. This is feedback you should listen to very carefully. Now imagine your uncle, who has never picked up a paintbrush in his life, looks at your painting and says, "You should have used more blue." This is low-quality fuel. His opinion is not based on any expertise. It is just a personal preference. While it may not be malicious, it is not particularly useful data. You can thank him for his input and then let it go. This filter is especially crucial for anonymous feedback on the internet. A random, nameless person leaving a nasty comment on your YouTube video or blog post is the dirtiest fuel imaginable. You know nothing about the source. You don't know their expertise, their motives, or their state of mind. Their feedback is not about you. It's a reflection of them. This kind of feedback should be immediately discarded. Do not let it take up even 1 second of your emotional energy. Your inner circle, The people who know you and genuinely want you to succeed are often the best sources of feedback. But even then, you must consider their own biases and fears. Sometimes people who love you will give you cautious advice because they are afraid of seeing you get hurt. Their feedback is filtered through their own fear. It's important to recognize this and take their loving concern into account, but not mistake it for objective truth about your capabilities. So, first, always consider the source. Is it credible? Do they have your best interests at heart? If the answer to either of these is no, the feedback gets filtered out. Question number 2. Is it specific and actionable? Good feedback is not a vague judgment. It is a specific observation that you can actually do something with. Your presentation was bad is terrible feedback. It is a judgment, not data. It gives you no information on how to improve. It is contaminated fuel. Your presentation was interesting, but you were speaking a bit too fast in the beginning, which made it hard to follow your first 2 points. If you slowed down your introduction, your message would be even more powerful. This is gold. This is high-octane fuel. It is specific. It identifies the exact problem, speaking too fast, and the specific part of the presentation where it occurred, the beginning. It is actionable. The instruction is clear. Slow down the introduction. You can practice that. You can implement that feedback immediately in your next presentation. When you receive vague feedback, you can often turn it into good fuel by asking clarifying questions. If your boss says, "I need you to be more proactive," that's vague. You can respond by saying, "Thank you for that feedback. Can you give me a specific example of a situation where I could have been more proactive? I want to make sure I understand what you're looking for." This transforms a vague criticism into a concrete learning opportunity. You are taking control of the feedback process. You are actively seeking the actionable data within the noise. If the person cannot give you a specific example, it often means their feedback is not well thought out, and you can give it less weight. So second, always ask if the feedback is specific and actionable. If it's just a vague judgment, either discard it or dig deeper to find the actionable data hidden inside. Question number 3. Does it align with my own goals? This is the final and most personal filter. The feedback might come from a great source, and it might be specific and actionable, but it might be pointing you in a direction you have no desire to go. Let's go back to the painter example. The professional artist gives you specific, actionable feedback on how to make your paintings more realistic and commercially appealing. This is high-quality feedback. But what if your personal goal as an artist is to create abstract emotional art that expresses your inner world? What if you have no interest in being commercially appealing? In this case, the feedback is still valuable data. It tells you, if I wanted to be a commercial realist painter, this is what I would need to do. But it doesn't align with your why. It's feedback for a different race than the one you are running. You are the ultimate authority on your own life and your own definition of success. You get to decide which advice to take. You can listen respectfully, you can learn from the feedback, but you do not have to follow it if it violates your own internal compass. This is particularly important when it comes to creative work. If you create something from the heart, some people will not get it. They will give you feedback based on their own tastes and expectations. You have to be secure enough in your own vision to say, "Thank you for your perspective. I understand why you see it that way, but I made this choice intentionally because it serves my artistic goal." So third, always check if the feedback aligns with your own why. You are the captain of your ship. Others can point out different ports, but you get to choose your destination. Your new relationship with feedback is one of active curiosity, not passive fear. When feedback comes in, don't react. Pause, breathe, run it through the 3 filters. What is the source? Is it specific and actionable? Does it align with my goals? By doing this, you transform a process that once felt like an attack into one of your most powerful tools for growth. You learn to extract the pure, high-octane fuel from the world around you and use it to power your journey forward faster and more effectively than you ever could on your own. You stop fearing criticism and start welcoming data, and that is a game changer. Chapter 13. The plateau is part of the climb. There is a phase in every journey of growth that can feel deeply discouraging. It's a phase that often gets mistaken for being stuck all over again. It is the plateau. The plateau is that period when you are doing all the right things, you are sticking with your tiny habits, you are managing your energy, but the thrilling feeling of rapid progress has vanished. The scale stops moving. Your skill level in your new hobby seems to stall. The excitement of the initial climb has faded into a long, flat, and often boring stretch of road. This is the point where most people give up. They mistake the plateau for the end of the line. They think, this isn't working anymore, I've hit my limit, I'm just not cut out for this. Their motivation plummets, and they slide back down the hill they worked so hard to climb. But the plateau is not a sign that you have failed. It is not a sign that you should quit. The plateau is a normal, necessary, and deeply important part of the growth process. It is not a bug, it is a feature. If you can understand the purpose of the plateau, you can learn to navigate it and emerge stronger on the other side. Think about learning a new language. In the beginning, the progress is incredibly fast and exciting. You learn hello, goodbye, thank you. You learn to count to 10. Every day you learn new words and phrases that you can use immediately. This is the steep, thrilling part of the climb. But then you hit a plateau. You have a basic vocabulary, but you struggle to form complex sentences. You can't quite understand native speakers when they talk at a normal speed. It feels like you are studying just as hard, but you are not getting any better. This can go on for weeks or even months. What is actually happening during this plateau? Your brain is not stagnating. It is consolidating. It is taking all those new words and grammar rules that you were consciously struggling to remember, and it is moving them into a deeper part of your brain. It is making them automatic. Your brain is building a new foundation. It's like paving a road. The process is slow, unglamorous, and it doesn't look like you're gaining any altitude, but you are making the path solid. You are making it so that you no longer have to think about the basics. This is the essential work that must happen before you can begin the next steep climb into fluency. This consolidation process happens in every area of skill development. It happens in sports, in learning a musical instrument, in business, and in personal growth. The plateau is where your new skills become your new normal. It's where the conscious effort of yesterday becomes the unconscious competence of tomorrow. A fascinating study on this was done with surgeons learning a new complex surgical technique. The researchers found that the surgeon's improvement was not a straight line. They would have periods of rapid improvement, followed by distinct plateaus where their performance would level off, even though they were still practicing. The surgeons who became true masters were the ones who persisted through these plateaus. They understood them as part of the learning curve. So how do you survive the plateau without giving up? First, you must change your perspective. You have to stop seeing the plateau as a problem and start seeing it as a sign of progress. When you hit that flat spot, you can say to yourself, here it is, the plateau. This means my brain is hard at work, making my recent gains permanent. This is good. This simple reframe can be the difference between frustration and patience. Second, you need to fall in love with the process, not just the progress. When you are driven only by the thrill of visible improvement, the plateau will be torturous. But if you can find joy in the daily act itself, the plateau becomes manageable. A writer who only loves seeing their book on the bestseller list will hate the long, slow plateau of writing the messy middle of the book. But a writer who learns to love the daily ritual of sitting down with a cup of coffee and wrestling with sentences will be able to persist. A runner who only loves seeing faster race times will quit when they plateau. A runner who learns to love the feeling of the wind on their face and the rhythm of their feet on the pavement will keep running. Find a way to make the process itself rewarding. Focus on your attendance, not your results. Did you show up today and do your tiny habit? That is the win. Celebrate the act of showing up, especially on the days when it feels boring. This is how you build the identity of someone who persists. Third, you can use the plateau as a time to introduce strategic variation. Sometimes a plateau is a sign that your brain has become too efficient at the routine you've given it. You can gently shake things up to stimulate new growth. If you are a weightlifter and you've plateaued on your bench press, you don't just keep doing the same thing. You might introduce new exercises that work the supporting muscles. You might change your number of reps or sets. You might focus on a different aspect of your form. This applies to any skill. If you've plateaued in your language learning, you could switch from textbook exercises to watching a movie in that language. If you're a writer who feels stalled, you could try writing in a different genre for a week. This isn't about abandoning your core practice. It's about cross-training. It can often be the small jolt your brain needs to start building new connections and prepare for the next climb. Finally, you must be patient and trust the process. Growth is not linear. It is cyclical. It happens in seasons. There is a season for planting, a season for rapid growth, a season for harvest, and a season for lying fallow. The plateau is the fallow season. It looks like nothing is happening on the surface, but beneath the soil, the system is resting, replenishing, and preparing for the spring to come. Do not mistake a plateau for being stuck. Being stuck is spinning your wheels in the mud with no forward movement. A plateau is when you have successfully driven your car onto a long, flat, paved road. You are still moving forward. You are just not climbing. Enjoy the view, consolidate your gains, trust that you are building a foundation that will make the next peak possible. The climb will come again. You just have to be patient enough to stay on the road. Chapter 14. Design your reset button. Life has a rhythm. There will be good days and there will be bad days. There will be weeks when you feel energized and on top of the world, and there will be weeks when you feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and like you are sliding all the way back down the mountain. This is not a possibility. It is a guarantee. You will fall off track. You will miss a day of your tiny habit. You will get thrown into a cycle of anxiety by an unexpected event. You will find yourself once again feeling stuck, lost, or behind. The goal of this book has never been to create a perfect, frictionless life where you never struggle again. That is an impossible fantasy. The real goal is to become more resilient. And resilience is not about never falling down. It is about how quickly and how gracefully you get back up. When your computer freezes or starts acting strangely, you don't throw it out the window. You don't spend hours trying to analyze the complex reasons for the crash. You perform a simple, reliable action. You press the reset button. You know that this one action will most of the time clear the errors and allow you to start fresh. You need to have a pre-designed reset button for your own mind and spirit. You need a simple, reliable sequence of actions that you can perform on a bad day without having to think about it. When you are in a state of overwhelm, your capacity for complex decision-making is shot. Your executive function, the part of your brain that makes smart, long-term choices, is offline. In that moment, you cannot rely on willpower or motivation to figure out what to do. You must rely on a system you created for yourself when you were in a clear state of mind. You need to do the thinking for your future, overwhelmed self. This chapter is a workshop. We are going to design your personal reset button. This is not a hypothetical exercise. By the end of this chapter, you will have a concrete plan that you can use the very next time you feel that familiar static creeping back in. A good reset button has 3 essential characteristics. First, it must be simple and easy to execute. It cannot be a complicated multi-step plan. If your reset plan is, I'll go for a 1-hour run, then meditate for 30 minutes, then cook a healthy gourmet meal, you will never do it on a bad day. That plan is for a good day. A bad day plan needs to be almost laughably simple. Second, it must engage your body. When you are stuck in a spiral of negative thoughts and anxiety, you cannot think your way out of it. You are trying to use the tool that is broken to fix itself. The fastest way to change your mental state is to change your physical state. You need to get out of your head and into your body. Third, it must be something you can do almost anywhere at any time. It can't be dependent on a specific location or other people. It needs to be your personal portable first aid kit. So let's build your reset button. We will use a menu approach just like in Chapter 8, but this time you will be assembling your own sequence. I want you to choose one action from each of the following 3 categories: the grounder, the mover, and the nourisher. Category 1, the grounder. This is the very first thing you will do. Its only purpose is to interrupt the panic signal in your brain and anchor you in the present moment. It should take less than 1 minute. Here are some options for your grounder. The 5 senses exercise. This is a classic grounding technique used in therapy. Wherever you are, you will silently name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, like the chair beneath you or the texture of your shirt. 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This forces your brain to stop its panicked narrative and focus on immediate sensory input. The cold water shock. Go to a sink, turn on the cold water, splash it on your face, or even better, hold an ice cube in your hand until it starts to feel uncomfortable. The shock of the cold is a powerful physiological pattern interrupt. It snaps you out of the mental trance, the one deep breath. This is the simplest of all. You will stop whatever you are doing, close your eyes, and take one single, deliberate, diaphragmatic breath. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. The long exhale is key, as it is what activates your body's relaxation response. Choose one grounder. Write it down. This is step 1 of your reset button. Category 2, the mover. After you have interrupted the panic signal, you need to change your physical environment and get your body moving. This helps to burn off the anxious energy, the cortisol and adrenaline, that is flooding your system. This should take between 5 and 15 minutes. Here are some options for your mover. The 15-minute unplugged walk. We've talked about this one before, and it's here again because it is the undisputed champion of resets. Leave your phone behind. Walk around the block. The combination of gentle movement and a change of scenery is incredibly powerful. The 5-minute dance party. Put on one song that you absolutely cannot help but move to. Close the door to your room or office. For the duration of that one song, you will dance. It doesn't matter if you look ridiculous. The goal is to move your body in a joyful, unstructured way. The 10-minute tidy. We also touched on this earlier. Choose one small area and bring order to it. The focused physical action of tidying provides a sense of accomplishment and control when you feel like your inner world is chaotic. Choose one mover. Write it down. This is step 2 of your reset button. Category 3, the nourisher. After you have grounded yourself and moved your body, the final step is to do something that is actively kind and nourishing to your system. This is an act of self-compassion. It signals to yourself that you deserve care, especially on a bad day. Here are some options for your nourisher. Hydrate. Drink 1 large glass of water. Dehydration can have a significant negative impact on your mood and cognitive function. This is the simplest and most effective act of physical nourishment. Listen to your proof playlist. Create a playlist on your phone of 3 to 5 songs that always make you feel capable, confident, or joyful. This is the auditory equivalent of your proof folder. These are your personal anthems. Read one page. Pick up a book that you find comforting or inspiring. It could be a book of poetry, a spiritual text, or even a beloved novel from your childhood. Read just one page. It is a small act of gentle, positive input for your mind. Choose one nourisher. Write it down. This is step 3 of your reset button. Now assemble your sequence. You should have a 3-step plan. For example, your reset button might be 1 deep breath, a 5-minute dance party, and then drinking a large glass of water. Or it might be the 5 senses exercise, a 15-minute unplugged walk, and then listening to your proof playlist. This is your plan. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your computer monitor. Put it as a reminder in your phone. The next time you feel that wave of overwhelm, you do not have to think. You do not have to find motivation. You just have to look at your plan and execute step 1. The beauty of the reset button is that it creates a positive feedback loop. By completing a simple, predefined plan, you are giving yourself a small win on a day that feels like a loss. You are proving to yourself that even when you feel terrible, you are still capable of taking positive, deliberate action. You are no longer a victim of your bad days. You are an active participant. You have a tool, you have a plan, you have a way to get back up. Now, you just have to use it. Chapter 15. Your own path, your own pace. We have reached the end of this book, but it is the beginning of your real journey. We have traveled a long way together, from the noisy static of feeling stuck to the clearer signal of intentional growth. We started by giving ourselves permission to be exactly where we are, by putting a pin on our map without judgment. We dismantled the great illusions that kept us trapped, the illusion that progress must be visible, that everyone else has a map, and that life is a race we are losing. We looked under the hood of our own minds and made peace with our brain's ancient protective software. We learned to sneak past our inner bodyguard by using the power of the tiny 1% shift. We discovered that our energy, not our time, is our most precious currency, and that our curiosity is the only compass we will ever need. We moved from theory to practice. We chose from the action menu, running small experiments to gather data on ourselves. We began building our proof folder, creating an undeniable case for our own competence and resilience. We learned to make good enough decisions, to embrace the strategic joy of quitting, and to filter the world's feedback so that we could use it as fuel. We learned to respect the plateau as a necessary part of the climb, and we designed our own personal reset button to help us get back up when we inevitably fall. Now we must bring it all together into one final, liberating truth. The goal was never to catch up. The entire time you have felt behind, you have been operating under the assumption that you are on the same track as everyone else. You have been looking at their progress, their speed, and their milestones, and using them as a yardstick to measure your own worth. The final and most important step in this entire journey is to get off their racetrack. You must fully and completely absorb the truth that you are not in a race against anyone. You are on a hike, a unique, personal, solitary hike through your own wilderness. On a racetrack, everyone starts at the same line, runs in the same direction, and is measured by the same clock. The goal is to be faster than the person next to you. On a hike, there is no starting line. People begin at different trailheads at different times of day in different seasons of their lives. Some people are power walking to get a workout. Some people are meandering slowly, taking pictures of flowers. Some people are stopping to have a picnic. Some people are climbing a steep mountain, and some are walking along a gentle stream. There is no behind on a trail. It's a meaningless concept. If you see someone walking faster than you, you don't think, "Oh no, I'm losing the hike." You think, "Oh, they're on a different journey than I am today." You might wave as they pass. You might wish them well. But their pace has absolutely no bearing on the quality or validity of your own experience. You are on your own path, and you get to set your own pace. If you need to spend a season in a valley building your roots and resting, that is your pace. If you are in a season of sprinting up a hill, full of energy and ambition, that is your pace. If you decide to stop and sit on a bench for a week to admire the view, that is your pace. There is no one judging you. The only person who is holding the stopwatch is you, and it is time to put the stopwatch away. The feeling of being stuck, lost, or behind is the static that comes from trying to tune your radio to someone else's station. It's the noise that results from trying to walk your path at their pace. The peace you are searching for comes when you stop trying to tune into them and you start broadcasting your own signal. It comes when you stop looking at their feet and you start paying attention to the ground beneath your own. You now have all the tools you need. You have your compass of curiosity to point you in an interesting direction. You have your strategy of tiny shifts to move you forward without fear. You have your energy management system to keep you fueled. You have your proof folder to remind you of how far you've come. And you have your reset button for the days when the trail gets rough. This is it. This is the work. It is not a one-time fix. It is a daily practice. It is the practice of choosing your own path and honoring your own pace. The static may never disappear completely. There will be days when the old fears and comparisons creep back in, but now you will recognize the sound. You will know it for what it is, a phantom signal from a station you no longer listen to. You can smile, you can thank it for the reminder, and you can gently tune the dial back to your own frequency. The world does not need another copy of someone else. It needs you, your unique scribble of a path, your particular blend of strengths and struggles. Your authentic pace. Stop running their race, start walking your path. The noise is fading, can you hear it? The quiet, clear and steady signal of your own becoming. You are the audio wave. Now go and let the world hear your sound.